day, everybody. I am Gary McLean, and you are watching Talent Talk. So, today's episode, we have a very interesting guest who has her own talk show as well, talking about mental health, um, which is something we don't see a lot of nowadays, and it's a great topic to discuss. Something we all go through, whether it be yourself personally, your families, aunts, uncles. We all go through situations, and it's good to talk about it. And she's got her show, which is what she's doing. So good for her on that. She's also lead actress on a film called February's Dog, and we'll touch base on that and get a bit more detail on that. She's also been seen on a few other things, such as Hell on Wheels and Project HLR, I believe it was called, which was a TV miniseries, I believe. Um, and she's a photographer. She's delved in a little bit in stunt work. She's kind of a jack of all trades, it seems. So please join me in welcoming Quinn Teechma. Hello, Quinn.
Hello, thanks for having me on.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining us. How are you doing today?
Oh, pretty good. Looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. It's sunny so far, so maybe I'll have to take my dog to the dog park.
Right, exactly. Yes, get them some fresh air.
Yeah. I got a
Uh,
big backyard, so that helps.
oh, yeah, for sure, right? Absolutely. Um, let's start off a little bit with the acting side of things.
Yeah.
How long have you been acting, for one thing?
Oh, probably like my whole life.
Okay.
Yeah, I started at a really young age. I always told my mom, like very early on, I was like, I need to be in acting classes. I need this, I need that. I used to make her drive me. I was probably 11 when I used to make her drive me. It was like a 45-minute drive from our house to acting lessons with Adrian Hoff. He's in X-Men. He's in the new Sabrina TV show on Netflix. He's really great. So yeah, I started out there, got some acting lessons, and then of course I took drama all through high school. Is my favorite, and here I am today. I mean, I'm got an upcoming course in LA that I'm taking, the CGTV program with Phil Lewis and Adrian Armonte. I've actually done it once previously in LA, and this year they're holding it in Calgary, which is great. It's a nice change. So it's actually supposed to happen in May, and it's not happening now. It's moved to December because of COVID.
Right. Unfortunately, that's put a bit of a damper on a few things. Um, but hopefully, we'll get to some sort of normalcy and get back on sets and stuff like that because I know I'm missing it as well.
Yeah.
Um, okay. And so, all this training and stuff that you've kind of gone through, and it's led up to this current film that's kind of making some pretty decent rounds, February's Dog. Can you tell us a little bit about the film and how this all came to fruition and where it's kind of going, maybe?
Yeah, definitely. So I met Paul, who is the producer, writer, actor. He does it all as well. I met him on set, I believe, of Heartland or Tin Star. We worked together on quite a few sets, and yeah, we were just kind of chatting. I saw a post of his on Facebook, and we ended up talking. And he said, "Oh, well, I've got this kind of film that I want to film." And at the time, the script was a lot shorter. It was only maybe 34 pages. It was supposed to be like a short film, and we got picked up by a production company, and it just kind of spiraled out of control. We decided to do a second set of filming and extend the length of the movie because we just felt like the film itself was such a unique type of film that we really wanted to add to it, and we wanted to do it justice and the storyline justice. So yeah, now the film is going to be about 110 minutes, give or take, and it's really, really exciting. It's about two kind of, blue collar average guys, and they lose their job, and it kind of follows, I guess, not only their own story of dealing with depression and job loss, which I think everyone can relate to right now, but also their family and friends' story. So it gives those unique perspectives of all around them. and then what they themselves are going through with job loss. So I think most stories out there currently don't really give all of those different viewpoints, and it's pretty exciting. I mean, I think it's very prevalent, especially with COVID and how many people are struggling right now. So we also started, as you mentioned, my show, Let's Talk Mental Health. We air on Roku and Toronto TV Live. So yeah, it's just been kind of a whirlwind. It's pretty exciting. And we went in Cannes this year as well, which was just mind blowing. And I'm pretty proud to be a part of the project.
It sounds like you should be for sure. And that's actually a pretty good lead into us to kind of watch the trailer for it. So this
Great.
trailer here, this for the short film version, I assume?
This is for the full film, actually.
It
Yeah,
is. Okay,
we
perfect.
rocked out filming like so fast. I dare anyone to guess how many days we filmed this film then.
Well, we will ask that question in a minute. And in fact, anybody who's watching, keep that in mind, and we will get back to that after the trailer here.
Wake up!
Listen, I got a call from corporate today.
Corporate needs cuts. I gotta let some guys go. 3 months' time, we'll get you right back to work.
What are we gonna do now? This could get bad, Dale.
Relax, man. All I gotta do is fill these forms out, get EI for 3 months, and bam, I'll be right back out in the field. Nothing to worry about.
It just kind of sounds, too good to be true.
This is gonna be the best spring ever.
Oh my goodness!
Now we can spend more time in Jamaica.
Hire and freeze is still in effect, right? So it's going to be a while longer.
You wake up late every morning, you start drinking early. Come on, Dale.
You know what, your EI? Oh, your EI is half of what we need to cover the bills around here. Don't you know that?
This is as bad as it's gonna get. It's gonna get better. You've got to believe that, dude. You've got to.
It's like he's lost in a fog. I wish I could get him back.
It'll be fine. We'll get through this. Dale, look at me. Look, we're gonna get through this.
Wow, that's pretty impressive. So let's go back to that question. And I don't know if anybody has any guesses out there, but how many days do you figure that took to film the feature? How many minutes do you figure for the feature?
So about 110. So it's going to be like an hour and 45 minutes.
Okay. So if anybody has any guesses, I'm going to guess 110. I'm going to say about a month, 45 days.
Do I tell? Does anyone else have any guesses? Come on. You get a whole big prize of being awesome.
Right? Who can ask for anything more? Come on.
Bragging rights.
We'll come back to that maybe.
Yeah.
We'll let
give
people
them a
stew
few
on
minutes.
that.
They're doing math. They're writing it out.
Exactly. No, that's impressive. And my understanding is you guys are push this through cons a little bit, or we're working on that?
Yeah, so Cannes, the marketplace just happened. The film festival itself, unfortunately, did not happen this year due to COVID. However, we did make it into the marketplace, and our trailer ranked top 20. It was even like holding fourth for a couple weeks, I think. And it just did so amazing. And we got incredible feedback from Cannes, which is just so amazing to hear because those are industry people. Those are people who know their stuff. They know what to look for in a film. And we just had amazing reviews, and it was an incredible experience. We met so many incredible people, and Paul and Jill worked so hard to make all of those connections and keep everything going. And it was a really exciting experience.
For sure. I think I wouldn't mind having a film through there as well. That'd be nice. So kudos to you guys for getting that done and doing that. Do you know what the plan is for the future? Like, do you foresee this maybe going into theaters or anything like that?
Yeah, so we are going to be doing a theater circuit here in Canada. I think we're going to shoot for like November, like early winter. It's been a little bit weird with COVID and everything, just because we're not really sure when theaters are going to be back to like full capacity. And it just wouldn't really make sense to go into theaters with limited seating. But yeah, so November, hopefully all across Canada, and then all across North America through into like January. Hopefully, that's fingers crossed.
Okay, that's fair. So we've had a couple minutes here. We've had one of the guests of 60 days. So can you tell us?
Yes, it took us 2 sets of 8 days to film, so 16 days total.
That's pretty impressive. Wow. How many locations, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't know the exact number of locations, but most of them were in and around the Calgary area. We did a significant amount of filming at a farm just east of Okotoks. That was like where my character lived, where Paul and I lived. So that was our main location. And then we did a little bit of filming in Black Diamond and around Calgary. So it was all pretty close to home. One of the things that was really important to Paul when he created this script was to show Alberta's diverse landscapes and diverse filming locations, because we do want to attract more film industry people to filming here. So he did a really good job of showcasing the beauty of Alberta, and that's something we're extremely proud about when it comes to this film.
For sure. Yeah, and I mean, Alberta's always had that reputation, I think, of being a beautiful place to film, for sure. But
It's not
yeah,
utilized.
you can't show it. Yeah, exactly. Especially lately, it hasn't been utilized, right?
Yeah.
So you just can't show it off enough, honestly.
Exactly. And man, some of the shots we got are just breathtaking. So that's really exciting.
Absolutely. And so I assume, do you know how big the crew was? Like, did you guys have a fairly large size crew? Like, was it the union crew, or did you guys have like independent crew?
So we worked with the production company called LNC Style.
Okay.
So our crew is actually quite small. It was a joint effort. It was all of us kind of pitching in and doing what we needed to get this project up and going. And it was a pretty cool experience. Everyone worked really hard together, and LNC Style were great to work with. They did a really good job directing us, and yeah, it's a great experience.
Okay. And your role in this film specifically, is it strictly as an actress, or did you have a little bit of a producer into it as well, or?
Um, It was strictly an actress. I did a lot of promotional work for it though. And I mean, I worked really hard with Jill, starting this Let's Talk Mental Health. And of course, February's Dog sponsored my podcast. And then Jill, as my producer, she helped me get it picked up by Roku. So it's been kind of a process. It definitely wasn't just acting, but I guess I can't really stop from just trying to take on more. It's just who I am.
Oh no, that's fair. I think we all kind of do that every once in a while as well, which is a good thing, right? It's
Yeah.
you know it's good to get that experience across the board, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, especially in this movie. I mean, like I've mentioned, it is supposed to be more than a movie. It is supposed to be a movement. It is supposed to be a change in not only the acting industry, but just society in general, bringing awareness to mental health. So that's kind of what started my podcast. Is we just felt like this movie is amazing. The idea behind the movie is amazing. The message is, but how do we get it more out there? And what more can we do? So that's how my show got started, and that's why I've been putting so much work into it, and it's really exciting.
That's a perfect segue into your talk show. So how long has that been running now then? How many episodes have you done? Or
So we just aired on Roku. We just had our first episode come out on Roku, but we filmed about 5 episodes, I believe.
okay. And what the range of your guests, what's their, I don't know, like, are you talking to other mental health professionals? I'm just wondering what your guest lineup kind of looks like.
Yeah. So the first episode that just aired was with Trent McClellan from This Hour Has 22 Minutes. I'm not sure if you're familiar
Okay.
or not. He was really great. It was really interesting to hear kind of how he came up in the comedy scene to being a host on a show. And that's kind of what I'm looking for. I will be definitely interviewing healthcare professionals. I do have some of those lined up for the future episodes. I really am trying to centralize around speaking with people who have attained a level of success and getting their kind of story, and hearing, okay, what were your struggles on the way up? And what's your best advice for people who are trying to, attain a certain level of success?
Okay. Um, I got a recommendation for you if you're interested. Are you familiar with Caroline Buzanko?
The name sounds really familiar, but I'm really bad with names. Yeah.
Oh, that's okay. So,
like so bad.
yes, so she's got a PhD in psychology,
Wow.
and I think she
Impressive.
specializes in child psychology.
Okay.
But she's also an actress. So
Oh,
she should be a
great.
very fun one to interview, I think.
Yeah.
You can kind of get both sides of that, and because she's got kids of her own as well. I'm not sure if they actually are in the acting side of things, but it'd be interesting to see what that contrast is dealing
Yeah.
with the psychology and the acting sort of it. Just a thought. I'm just throwing it out
Yeah,
there.
no, I love it. I'm always looking for more people, and it's always good to get different perspectives. I actually was working on getting a couple ladies on because all my guests have been male so far, and it'd be nice to hear a female perspective.
For sure, yeah, and she's actually quite active on Facebook as well with her own little uh, tips and hints for raising children and teens and things like
Amazing.
that. So yeah, so she'd be a good one, I think. Anyway, I guess that's my plug.
I
Didn't
love
even
that.
intend that one. So
No, I love that. That's awesome. I'm all about connections and just uniting with other people. So that's perfect.
awesome. So do you have a kind of a end goal for your show? Or like, do you see that expanding to from where it is right now, or do you have a plan for it at this point? Or are you just trying to get your feet off the ground and get
Yeah, I mean, it is still pretty new. Roku was kind of that next step for us just recently, and that only happened last week. So currently, Roku is our main focus, and we want to grow our audience on Roku, and that's going to be a lot of work. But the channel we're on has 2 million viewers, so I suspect that it will go pretty well, and I'm pretty excited for that. As for future, I'm just going to kind of see where it takes us. I do hope that it grows, but I mean, you can't control everything. So I'm just going to kind of go with the flow, and I'm going to work hard and see where my work pays off.
okay? And you kind of mentioned earlier that the February's dog was kind of a little bit of inspiration, if you want to call it that, for creating this. Um, in general, though, has the mental health topic been kind of a personal thing for you over the years, or is this something that's kind of sprouted more recently? Or I'm just wondering what your initiative was to, or where that initiative started for you, or was it
Right.
February's dog?
It was kind of February's dog as well as my own personal experience. February's dog is what kind of inspired me to start the show. That being said, I really connected with my character Emily in February's Dog, and the things that she had gone through personally. So it was in that sense my own experience. I did go through a relationship where my partner lost his job and fell into a depression, and it was very difficult, and we went through a lot as a couple, and that's kind of what my character goes through in the movie. So it's really just all kind of wound together, and uh, I'm just really happy that I do have this platform that I can start this conversation. I think not enough people are talking about mental health, and I think the more we just start chatting about it, and the more we make it normal to talk about, the more we can kind of spread that message.
Yeah, I personally couldn't agree more with you there. I think it's gotten better over the years when it comes to people willing to talk about it, but there's still a stigma behind it to a certain
Yeah,
extent,
it's
and
getting there.
it's getting there. Yeah, it's much
More of
better than it
things like
was.
this, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's better than it was even like dating myself, but back in the 80s. So um, yeah, like that's just something you didn't talk about at all. So um, that's good. Good on you. Good for you guys to get that going. Let's definitely talk about that. Um, if you don't mind, I'd like to switch it over a little bit to your photography.
Mm.
You have your own website for one thing. I kind of checked it out a little bit. At first, when I heard you did photography, I thought you were doing like headshots and things like that, but it's not necessarily just headshots or anything like that. Do you want to talk about your photography a little bit, or
Yeah,
what you do?
so I specialize in luxury high-end boudoir photography, and my main focus is empowering women and helping them feel confident and good in their own skin. So it's been an interesting process starting that and kind of focusing. Like I've been doing photography for years, but it was family photos and headshots, stuff like that. And I kind of just realized that my passion is always going to be empowering people, always talking about mental health. And this is a way for me to empower women and help them with their mental health and make them feel like they're beautiful, which I don't know many jobs that you get to do that kind of thing. I kind of feel like I've got the best job in the world. So it's been really, really exciting doing that. And I'm so proud of every woman who steps in my studio and kind of, steps out of her comfort zone, because I know boudoir can be really nerve wracking for some people. And it's just a different experience. And for some women, they think they could never do something like that. They think, oh, well, you have to be a model. You've got to be a size 0. And that's so not true. I shoot women of all shapes, sizes, and ages. I've got 2 women actually coming up. One is 53 and one has her 50th birthday in October, and they are both doing a boudoir session. So it's just so exciting, and I'm really, really thankful that I get to do something like that for my job and help empower women.
Oh, that's awesome. Is that like, are you able to focus as much attention as you'd like on that still, or are you
Yeah,
kind of
I
getting?
mean, it's kind of nice because I can set my own schedule with that, and I can book off chunks of time for things like filming and different stuff like that. So it's pretty flexible since I am technically my own boss. So it's
Right.
nice. It actually helps give me that flexibility to be able to do things like acting.
Yeah, and that for an actor, that's difficult to find sometimes. So I know for myself, I still do the full 8-hour day job Monday to Friday. So it's nice to have that flexibility if you can get it, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, it's still definitely long hours for me, but at least I can kind of move the hours around where I need them.
Yes, right. Yeah. You can do it at night if you need to, or whatever the case is.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Have you always, are you Calgarian? I guess I should ask the question.
So I'm originally from BC, actually.
Okay.
I've been in Calgary for about 6 years now.
6 years? Okay. And what drove you here Well, I mean, I'm assuming a vehicle, but other than that, what was your motivation?
Vehicle or plane, both.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so I lived in Edmonton for about 3 years with my sister, who has lived there for like, I don't even know, a couple decades. And I moved briefly to Vancouver for about 6 months. And at the time, that same boyfriend that I was dating lost his job. Well, he would have lost his job if we stayed in BC. They stopped paying for flights outside of BC. And we had to move back to Alberta if he wanted to keep his job. So we kind of settled on Calgary because I said Edmonton was too cold.
Fair enough.
So that's, yeah, it was just kind of crazy how I ended up here. But now I'm here and I like Calgary. It's nice. I always say Calgary's like, it's that big city with small town feel, you know?
Yes, it's diminished a bit, I think, over the years, but yes, I know exactly what you mean. It's the kind of place where your neighbors will help you out generally if you need something, or you're stranded on the side of the road, somebody will stop and help you out, type deal, right? Yeah, eh, that's what I've always enjoyed about Calgary. We actually moved, my family and I moved to Ontario back in early 2000, and we were amazed at the difference in personalities between people there and here. Like
Yeah.
we did not, and we
Pretty
were in a
huge.
small town, but it did not have the same feel as Calgary did. And I was like, oh wow, that's okay. I'm going back. So
Yeah. I've flown a lot back and forth between here and the States, and some of the flight attendants are so funny. Like, if I have something on that's like Calgary Flames or something, sometimes I've had like this one flight attendant. She goes, "Oh, are you from Calgary?" She's like, "Are you a big hockey fan?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I love hockey. And yes, I'm from Calgary." And she's like, "Oh, I used to fly from Calgary. I miss being on that flight. Everyone from Calgary was so nice." So no. And I just laughed and I was like, "What? Like, where do you fly now?" She's like, "Well, my only other Canadian flight now is into Toronto." She's like, "It's just not the same."
right, yeah, no, it's true.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm really glad we kind of have that. Um, you know, I'm glad people look at us that way because
Yeah.
makes, and plus you've got the mountains, right? That helps
Yeah,
too.
that's
So
true.
I was amazed how much I actually missed the mountains, even though I didn't really go to the mountains very often. But when we lived in
Mhm.
Ontario, I was like, oh man, I just missed that view.
Yeah.
Just like, oh, just even driving down Deerfoot, whatever, you see the mountains off to the side. It's like, oh, that's fantastic,
Incredible views.
right? And in the city, you get that view. So
Yeah.
yeah, can't go wrong. Um, awesome. Let's see. We've touched on your film stuff a little bit. Oh, do you have any future projects that you're kind of looking at on the film side of things? That's what I meant to ask.
Yeah, so everyone can kind of go over to lecterpictures.com, and that's where all of our upcoming projects and everything is. It's pretty exciting. We've got definitely a few coming up. I believe Ruina, if you head on over to the website, you'll see Ruina and its premise. I believe that's the next one we're going to film. And I'm not sure where we're filming it yet. We've definitely got a few locations, but it will be an international film. So that's pretty exciting, and I'm excited to travel for it. But
Nice.
I can't talk too much about it.
Oh, that's fair.
Pretty
Yeah.
exciting though, and Paul's done an amazing job. And if you check out the production site there, you'll see all of the upcoming projects, and they're really amazing and really exciting.
You might not be able to touch on this much, but I'll ask the question anyway, just in case. When it comes to the funding for these projects, are you guys going for grants, or I'm just kind of curious how you guys actually fund these projects?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, that's not my department at all. However, I know like part of it is like the Cannes Film Festival and whatnot, and the Cannes Marketplace. Like, you go there, and these are all industry people looking at your film. They're all distribution agents, sales agents, and you make connections like that. And we did a lot of private funding for February's Dog. I know Paul funded a lot of it himself, and yeah, I mean, for future projects, I think it's going to be interesting to see the difference between February's Dog and like the private funding versus getting sales agents and those types of things. But it's really not my department at all. So I'm
Yeah,
not too involved in that. But it's definitely interesting watching a little bit from the sidelines.
it is. Yeah, and I definitely haven't been in the situation you guys are. Usually my projects are self-funded, so I'm trying to get out of that. So that's why I was kind of curious. Um, and I know, especially in Alberta right now, with the grant system kind of being not what it was, to put it lightly, um, I think that's kind of put a damper on a lot of personal projects. And
Mhm.
yeah, that's kind of why I was delving into that question a little bit. I was just curious.
Yeah.
So that's good. I mean, regardless, doesn't really matter how you get your funding. You get your project
Yeah.
done. That's what counts. So,
Yeah, it's a lot of hard work. I mean, I think people in general don't realize how much goes on behind the scenes of creating a movie, and there's just so many moving parts. And our team was really good, and we all put a lot of work in, and that's why it is where it is.
absolutely, definitely couldn't agree more than that. Everybody, unless you're in the industry, everybody just has the rosy-colored glasses on, where they think it's just
Yeah,
red carpets and you know, celebrities. That's all it is.
yeah,
And yeah, the amount of work that goes behind the scenes is just incredible. Whether it's the crew or your first ADs, all those guys, like wow, the effort they put in is just insane. Especially on the bigger productions, just crazy. Um, Perfect. So that's kind of what we're headed. Do you have any personal projects outside of Luctor Pictures that you're kind of looking at?
yeah. I'm competing for Miss Canada this year. I'm a little bit disappointed because we were supposed to be competing in August in Toronto. Due to COVID, it has tentatively been rescheduled for September 16th. So hopefully it goes on schedule. We'll just have to wait and see.
Nice. Yeah, it is unfortunate that it's been kind of rescheduled. Is this your kind of first attempt at that, or have you done this before? Or
I've never done it before. I just kind of figured why not?
okay, sure. So it's kind of a win thing. It wasn't something that was kind of in the back
Yeah.
of your mind for a while type thing.
No, not really. I just kind of saw it. I actually have a friend who won it in 2012 or 13. So I was like, why not? I should try it. Why not?
So do you know what kind of how the process goes behind the scenes on that? Like, can you talk about that at all? Like, I mean, obviously you haven't experienced it fully at
Mhm.
this point, but I was just kind of wondering if you knew what the processes were, things like that, as it builds up or leads up to the actual pageant.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of it is really just kind of working on yourself and self improvement and getting to know yourself. I think pageants in general have a bit of a stigma to them. And I would say the best part about it is the fact that I'm really just learning all of these questions that they could possibly ask me. And then I'm learning, like, oh, what is my opinion on those things? So it's really just self development and honing in your interview skills and different things like that. And I'm really excited also to meet all the girls and make those connections. I think anyone who's competing in a pageant like this is going to be a very motivated person, a very positive person, and I'm really looking forward to making those connections and new friends.
It's all about networking in anything, really, whether
Yeah.
it be film, pageants, photography, doesn't matter. You got to make those connections.
Hmm.
Um, I guess it's too early to ask that question. Um, oh, I know I had another question. I always get these little blips in my thought process. Um,
Not a
what the heck was I
problem.
going to ask? Um, oh, so going back to the photography a little bit, have you, like, obviously you're the one taking the photos. Have you been the one in front of the camera for like model shoots or anything like that yourself?
Yeah. Yeah, I have been modeling since I was about, oh goodness, I don't know, probably 15. And even before that, I did like acting and I took on camera classes, which isn't the same as modeling. It's more specifically for acting in front of the camera, but you still learn how your body looks in front of the camera. And then I went into modeling. So I've had modeling experience for years and years and years now. And that really helped me going into photography and really helped me specializing in boudoir. And it is why I feel comfortable posing any woman of any size coming into my studio.
Okay. And oh my goodness, my Alzheimer's is kicking in today. um, it was an acting question. Oy, oy, oy. All right, it'll probably come back to me. I'll delve into something else here. Um, so you said you went through high school drama, and was that in BC that you went to high school?
Yeah, I went to high school on Vancouver Island and then I graduated in Kelowna.
Okay, and then after that, like I guess where I'm kind of going with this is, for example, with myself, I took drama in high school as well, but after high school, I didn't do anything with it up until much later in
Mhm.
life. So it was, did you actually make a focused effort to actually continue that right after high school, like the acting side of it, or did you kind
Mm,
of get?
I'd say within, so I actually graduated early. I graduated halfway through grade 12, so
Okay.
like half a year early. And then by the time that I was, so it would have been like January, February time. And by the time I'd say fall rolled around, I was getting right into it. And then going into winter time, I flew to LA to do my acting program there, the CGTV with Adrian Armonte. So I pretty much went right into it. I mean, there wasn't too much of a gap there. I went to Germany that summer, so I just like traveled a little bit first, and then I went right into it, and it was really exciting.
Okay. And how long was the class in LA?
It was a 2 week program, so it was
Two
pretty
week.
condensed, but it was really, really good and really influential towards my career. And Adrian Armonte is a great support. I mean, he is so hands on with his students. Like, even now, I can message Adrian anytime and be like, hey, Adrian, I need your opinion on this. Can
Okay.
you? Yeah, and he is right there ready to help. Like, he wants his students to succeed. And I think that's really unique in this industry. Somebody actually willing to be like, okay, look, like I'll help you with your skills and then I'll introduce you to the people that you need to be introduced to when you're ready for that. So we actually got to perform in Acme Comedy Theater in LA, which was pretty exciting, in front of like 30 top LA agents. And I did get callbacks there. It's just a little bit difficult because I did the LA program. They kind of wanted you to move there, you know? They're like, okay, well, are you ready to move? And when you're 18, not quite ready to move to the
Right.
States, or you don't have the kind of ability or knowledge to make that move, and also to get like an A1 visa, all of that type of thing. It's very complicated and it's more than just, okay, let's move to LA. So
Right.
I didn't, and I'm doing the Canadian program this year. But my callbacks in LA, like they're always good. They're not something that expires. That's something incredible about this program, is you can wait 5 years and your callback is still right there. All you have to do is email that agent, CC Adrian Armonte, and it's like your connection is good forever, and
Wow.
that is so unique. So I'm pretty excited about that.
Yeah, I would be too, for sure. Um, do you do you have a certain style you figure, like when it comes to acting? Do you consider yourself miser? Do you consider yourself method? Do you have a certain style that you consider yourself as an actress?
Um, I'm a little bit method. I mean, I kind of just go with the flow. I do find that I get like right very into the character themselves, and I feel like I'm kind of an empath in my daily life. So when I'm doing things like acting, I kind of take that on as well, and I just really get into the characters. But I also feel like I'm quite good at kind of, flipping the switch and jumping out of my character. So that's something a bit unique about me. I know a lot of people really struggle with that and really struggle with getting out of character. Um, I mean, it is difficult, and I think that a lot of people don't even realize how difficult that type of thing is, or the struggles that actors go through being in a character that is not themselves. Like you're like perceiving like who somebody is, taking it in, and then you're putting it out there and you're taking your audience on this emotional journey through this film. So I think a lot of people don't understand that.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of my favorite parts of acting, to be honest.
Okay. Well, that's a fair statement as well. Um, yeah, to kind of touch on that a little bit, and it kind of ties into the mental health game and what actors kind of have to go through as well, right? As far as I'm concerned, actors probably have the toughest mental game out there in a lot of cases, because they tend to get so involved in their characters, or even just the simplicity of the emotions that somebody goes through with an audition, things like that, right? There's a huge emotional range that an actor goes through the course of, again, whether it be as small as an audition or the actual course of the filming project itself, because you are having to tap into those emotions that might not be normally tapped into for an everyday person. So,
Hmm.
I don't know if that's something you discussed or plan to discuss maybe on your show, is kind of the effects that actors go through. I know myself, that's actually a documentary I'm trying to get off the ground here, is
Oh,
that aspect of it. Um,
amazing.
yeah,
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 I definitely do touch on subjects like that. It really just depends on my guests. But I have touched on that, especially like I interviewed Paul. We spoke a lot about that. So yeah, it's definitely a subject that I bring up, and it is something that I do talk about in general. But it really just is based on who my um, current person is on the show, and depends.
yeah. No, that's fair. Uh, yeah, that makes sense. Um, okay, I think that's kind of all we've got right now. I don't know if there's anybody online that has any questions, which I kind of forgot to mention in the beginning of the show, that anybody watching can please pop up a question. If you have questions for myself or Quinn, that'd be fantastic. Um, Otherwise, I think we're done. Normally at this time, we would do our little or phrase challenge, but I mean, I could probably do one for you, but I don't know. I don't think that's as fun. Um, it's kind of fun to have that competition back and forth, but I could just make
Yeah.
a fool of myself that way. Um, so yeah, I mean, we'll chat for a couple more minutes, see if anybody has a question that they want to pop up. But um, do you foresee yourself eventually maybe doing the Vancouver move or the LA move for the acting side of things, or are you fairly based here in Calgary now, do you think?
Um, Honestly, I have no clue. I am just kind of seeing where life takes me. I do really like Calgary. Um, I've fallen pretty in love with Calgary. But
Right.
that being said, I know acting is just one of those jobs where sometimes you got to move around, and that might be a thing. And I'm not sure. So
Okay.
I'm just
Yeah.
gonna have to see where it goes. I think I'll always have roots here in Calgary. I mean, I love the city and I have made lots of friends here. So I'm not sure if I'll make a move. And if I do, I'd probably like to keep a base here.
Okay. Yeah. No, I can definitely understand that, and I think, I mean, the issue I have is Calgary's got so much potential on the film side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's just not being
That's utilized.
utilized. The government's not helping us any with a lot of this restrictions they've put in place, unfortunately. But I do have hope that in the future that will change. And
Mm-hmm.
if you have been a resident of Calgary for quite some time, and you've built those connections here within town, I think it's a great opportunity for us if that does kick in. Um, yeah, that's just my thought on that, though. Um, I just hope it's sooner than later.
Yeah.
Um, okay, I don't really see any questions popping up. I'd like to thank everybody that did pop in to use, thank you for that. Thanks for saying hi if you did. And thanks for Quinn for joining us today. I hope unless there's something else you would like to quickly chat about or something like that, I think we're good to go.
I think we covered it all. Thank you so much for having me
Perfect.
on.
And good luck with Reservoir Dogs, February's Dog,
Yeah.
February's Dog, and of course, Mental Health. Let's talk. Be sure to check that out. And like you said, it was on Roku. They can check that out, correct?
Yeah, it's on
Um,
the Toronto Live TV channel on Roku.
and is there anywhere locally that folks can check that out, or?
On the February's Dog Facebook page, all of the information is there, and all of the social media for February's Dog is the same, like Instagram, Facebook. It's all at February's Dog, and my personal social media is all at Quinn Teechma. For photography, of course, you showed the website, and my website there's a link there for my VIP group. Anyone can join that. It's basically just a Facebook group, a community where women are kind of empowering each other and, just being a positive space for women to talk and chat. And it's really nice.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much. I'd ask you to kind of stick on the line here for a minute, and then I'll just say goodbye to everybody else. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for Quinn for being here, and we definitely look forward to seeing everybody next week with our guest. I made the mistake of the last episode of staying my next interviews with Mike Anthony, but this time he really is our next guest. So tune in next week when we have a chat with voice actor Mike Anthony. Thanks again, everybody, and we will chat soon. Thanks, Quinn.